Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from the subreddit, Am I the Bad Guy or Am I the A? Our first story is by Final Sheep Herder 17. Am I the bad guy for sending an email to the rest of the family about sister-in-law's behavior on vacation? My husband and I decided to bring our 2 kids to Disney World for 4 days now that they are old enough to appreciate it. My husband and I are not in the best shape, so we decided to invite his sister and her husband along with us. We have 2 separate rooms. We assumed we would spend our time in the parks together since it was, after all, a family vacation. The first day in the park, we all did a few attractions together, but then when we went to bring the kids to meet some characters, she said she and her husband had other things in the park they wanted to do and would meet back up with us. We didn't see them until dinner after we watched the fireworks together and then went back to the hotel. The second day we went to Epcot. They stuck around with us until the afternoon, but then split up with us again to drink around the world. When we met up with them for dinner, they were clearly very tipsy in front of the kids, very mature. When we got back to the hotel that night, I knocked on their door after the kids were asleep. I asked them if they were going to spend any time with the family on this vacation and told them running around an amusement park with kids all day is exhausting and we could use help. She claimed the time they were spending with us was enough, but they wanted to do their own thing too. She made a rude comment that she didn't take days off work to be our babysitter. The next 2 days, we didn't speak to them at all, and they did their own thing and we did ours with our kids. We didn't see them again until the flight home, which was awkward. I was so upset that they ruined the experience for our kids who were looking forward to spending time with their aunt, that when I got home, I wrote an email to our immediate family about the experience, and at the end told them this was the reason we would be going low contact with sister-in-law. I included sister-in-law on the email, sent it, and went to sleep. Woke up to a ton of angry text from husband's family calling me ridiculous. I just assumed she would spend time with family on family vacation. Clearly, she does not value family. You know, these are under the heading of Am I the Bad Guy? You are 100% the bad guy. You go on vacation, they're your kids. I don't care if you invite your family because you think that they'll run around with your children for you and you want a vacation without your kids. Hire a sitter or a nanny for the entire week and don't bring them. You're trying to get away from your children in this and claiming your sister-in-law doesn't like family. Ugh, I hate this one. I hate this one, but I love it at the same time. The top comment at the bottom is from Person of Paper. They're quoting the OP. My husband and I are not in the best of shape, so we decided to invite his sister and her husband along with us. She made a very rude comment that she didn't take days off work to be our babysitter. You're the bad guy, and sister-in-law knew exactly what you were about. Very mature. That one got 18,000 plus upvotes. And then you had the audacity to go home and mail the entire family about her behavior. Our next story is by Prestigious Look 3481. Am I the bad guy for not saying anything to my son who told a teacher that she was dismissed? My son, Brandon, in quotes, graduated high school on Friday, and me, his mom, and my ex, and our 2 other kids. My 5-year-old son, Grant, Brandon's half-brother, and my wife all attended. Grant knew that it was a special day for Brandon and made him a card and brought him a big lollipop. Brandon was seated in front of us, and I told Grant to go give him his presents. He went over there, and my son's class was just showering him with attention. The ceremony begun, and Grant was just sitting on Brandon's lap. I thought about going over there, but if Grant was being trouble, then Brandon would have told him to go back to us. They called my son's name, and he walked on the stage with Grant. It was a lot of fun for them. After the ceremony, a teacher came to Brandon and told him he shouldn't have let his little brother on the stage. It's a privilege for graduating seniors only. My son told her that she was dismissed and turned his back on her. He didn't really know her. I thought she was out of line, so I just laughed at her. She walked away. I got an email from the VP who told me that my son humiliated a staff member and wasn't welcome back on campus unless he apologized. He didn't see much of a problem with my son walking the stage with my other son, just his attitude. I said he's not apologizing, and what good is banning him from campus? He hated school. Are you the bad guy? Yes. Yes, you are. Get your kid off his lap, sit them on yours, keep control of them. Nobody needs to see your little 5-year-old walk across the stage with his big brother. You're the bad guy, and you allowed him to be rude to somebody on his way out. Doesn't matter if he hates school. This is as somebody who used to work in a school. You're part of the problem. One of the top comments below is Own Preparation 4687. You're the bad guy. I don't know, probably too late to raise him better at this point though, and it doesn't really seem like you'd be equipped for that anyway. Another great reply is by StormyCat 55456. Yeah, I graduated high school last June, and what OP did was break a lot of unspoken and even spoken rules. 1. Your 5-year-old son should not have even gone up to your graduating kid. It disrupts the ceremony, and it's extremely rude regardless if the ceremony is started or not. 2. You should not have let your 5-year-old sit on your son's lap for the ceremony. Again, it's very rude. Your 5-year-old should not have been there with you on the sidelines. 3. Your 5-year-old should not have walked with your son. It isn't cute. It isn't special. It isn't meant for him. Not only does this further disrupt the ceremony for those that have earned it, this creates a bad example for your 5-year-old. 4. Your son telling the teacher essentially to F off is the icing on the cake. That teacher was right. Your son was not. You're the bad guy. Did I miss anything? That exactly is how I feel about this too. Our last story for today is by Tasty Watercress 190. Am I the bad guy for telling people not to eat the food at my sister's wedding? My husband, 27 male, and I, 26 female, were married 8 months ago. We had a big wedding with lots of food and drinks and people. I knew we would likely have leftovers, so had arranged for them to be donated to the soup kitchen we sometimes work with. However, my mom went behind my back and took most of it with her. I didn't really know what happened to the food. Until now. My sister Callie, 30 female, got married over the long weekend. She didn't want to mess with any of the planning, and knowing how my mom was during my wedding, decided to let our mom take over the whole thing. All we had to do was show up where we were told and party. The ceremony was beautiful, but it was when the buffet was revealed that I noticed something odd. The food looked eerily familiar, like identical to what I had for my wedding, except for a little more dried out and sad. I found an opening and went to ask my mom about it when she happily told me she saved a fortune by unfreezing the food from my wedding to serve to the guests now. I was horrified and immediately voiced my concerns about safety. She got upset and said that I was acting like a snob and should be happy the food wasn't going to waste. I argued that it was never going to be wasted, but she wouldn't hear it. I didn't want to make a scene, but was worried about people getting sick, so snuck off to see my sister. She was horribly embarrassed, mentioned that Mom said something about saving money, but didn't question it because she didn't want to foot the bill like I had. She told me not to eat the food and thanked me for the warning. From there, my husband and I discreetly started telling some of the guests to be wary of the food, and the rest of the night was fine. My mom caught some flack for being cheap, but I've also been catching heat. Some of our relatives have been saying that I intentionally made my family look bad and that the food was fine as it was frozen and then defrosted for the wedding. They said no one would have known if I didn't make a stink over it. I don't know if I did anything wrong. I could use some help and would like to know if I should apologize. Am I the bad guy? Not the bad guy. That is gross. I would not want to eat food that was left out at somebody's wedding for a while, basically stolen by her, thrown in a freezer for a while, and then defrosted for another wedding. I wouldn't want to touch it. That's disgusting. The top comment from Tempting Penguin 369 seems to agree. Not the bad guy. Oh my god. It's not that it was stored for 8 months. It's that it sat out on a buffet table for God knows how long at your wedding, then in your mother's car before it was frozen. This is not only tacky, but super dangerous. Bacteria grows on food if it's left out for just a few hours. If it's on a buffet table for a while, it's probably not safe to eat all of it anymore. Our episode has come to a close for today. Until we meet again, have a wicked day.